Hello and welcome to the Villa Park podcast. It's me, Rich, and I'm back with Sam to preview AZ Alkmaar against Aston Villa in the Europa Conference League match day 3, I believe. Yeah, this is going to be a tasty fixture, I think. So we're going to get into it, talk AZ Alkmaar, talk Villa, starting lineups, predicted scores, everything like that. So make sure you stick with us all throughout the show. We have smashed through 2,600 subscribers. I've asked Mark, I've requested the 2,600 gift, but we've got the 2,500 one so far, but we're well on the road to 3K. So you guys help us get there. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Help us on the road to 3K. You may have seen our competition on Twitter to win a Villa shirt of your choice. All you need to do, follow the instructions on the tweet. You need to make sure you're subscribed, you like and retweet that tweet, and send a reply with a screenshot confirming your subscription, and you're into the prize draw. And the winner will be announced on the live show on Sunday after we hopefully beat Luton. But before we get into the Luton game, we've got a big game tonight, Sam. So how are you feeling about tonight's game?
I think it's an important one in this competition for us. We all played two. We're all on 3 points. Um, that it's very tightly balanced going into this third game. Um, and AZ Alkmaar are no mugs. Um, so yeah, I'm excited about it, but I'm also treating it with, I think it's due reverence. I think we should respect them, not too much, but I wouldn't assume. And I've been doing some studying on the players and the team, and I think we shouldn't expect a walkover in this one.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, the way the group is set up tells us that any result in this group is possible. But from that game against Zrinski, that obviously the McGinn getting that goal right in the last minute, um, almost kind of, I guess there was like a collective sigh of relief with us getting that monkey off our back with the first win. So how do you think the players will react to that? How do you think they'll be feeling about that going into kind of this match after getting that victory?
Yeah, I mean, I was at that game at Villa Park. Obviously, it was a frustrating evening. They were very much designed to come to Villa Park and sit back, and we were just trying to break them down for 90 minutes. And luckily, our Super John got his head on the ball, and and it kind of changed the complexion of the group for us because had we not have won it, I think we'd have been bottom of that table, and it would have been a much harder challenge to get out of the group. So I think it was such an important win. I think it was one of them where, and it'll be interesting to see how Alkmaar played tonight because it was literally 11 men behind the ball for the majority of the game and trying to hit us on the counter. I think they may have watched the Legia Warsaw game and saw how effective the counter was against us on that night. Um, and, uh, and yeah, so it'd be interesting to see what kind of what not only Villa take out of that in terms of confidence going forward, but what Alkmaar take out of that in terms of how they plan on playing against us.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It will be. It will be. Before we talk on Alkmaar, we obviously doing so well in the Premier League, scoring goals for fun. Found this Europa Conference League a little bit tricky. We've got Luton to come on Sunday. Potential breaking into that top four. How before without kind of giving too much away about starting lineups, but how do you think Emery approaches this with regards to changes for the squad for the team?
It's I have no idea. If I'm being honest, I was literally just texting a mate of mine who's just asked. He's asked me if he thinks if I think Ollie Watkins is playing tonight because he wants to put a bet on a 3-1 Villa Ollie Watkins double. And he was like, "What do you reckon the team's going to be like?" And I was like, "Mate, I've got no idea. I think the saving grace for us is that we play Luton at home. It's There's no easy games in the Prem, but there are easier games. If we had Man City at the weekend, then
Yeah,
it might be a little bit different. But what I said to him was, I really want to keep this league form going, especially at home. Like I don't know. The thing is, I don't know what I would do, so I've got no idea what Unai Emery, who actually has to make that decision, is going to decide. I assume it would be a mix of, what our first team would be, and a mix of maybe the squad players who, to the benefit of Villa, are actually pretty decent footballers. So I think we should. It will be a mix.
Yeah. It's a real tricky one because I think in some of the shows, the match reaction show and the fans forum this week, one or two of the comments in the chat were, you almost potentially play your strongest team in this game and then rest players against Luton if you're going to be, looking at the standards of the teams. But then you think, well, the Premier League, you've got to make sure you get the points. It's so difficult. It's so difficult to categorize. And also backed up with that is because some of the fringe players haven't done so well in this tournament previously, and obviously the Everton game wasn't a good performance at all. So he hasn't really got any great performances from the fringe players to fall back on. So
I think it's tough. I think you do have to, when you go to play a game of football, if you're playing against a team that doesn't want to play, it's tough. I mean, that last game,
I
I
get you.
think
Yeah, I get you.
Tielemans wasn't, he wasn't on record of having a great game, but his stats, he did like 7
Yeah,
million
I
passes.
thought I thought he was okay, and I thought he kept going. He kept going.
He did, but he struggled to
Yeah,
break him down because there was
yeah,
just too many men behind the
yeah,
ball.
yeah,
But
yeah,
that's what
yeah,
you have to do when you become a top team and people start giving you too much respect and they sit the whole team behind. Then that's what the top teams do. They find a way to break you down. You can't defend
yeah.
against Man City for 20 minutes, let alone 90 minutes, without them finding a way through. And that's the kind of mentality Villa need in this competition.
Absolutely. Well, let's talk our opponents. So
Mm.
AZ Alkmaar, currently second in the Eredivisie, had a phenomenal start to the season. Won 8, drawn 1, 25 goals scored, 4 conceded, 25 points, and off the back of 4 wins in a row. One of them being against Legia Warsaw in the Europa Conference League. There are a couple of individual players I want to focus on in a second, Sam, but I mean, those are frightening statistics, to be honest with you, the way they've started the season, and there's certainly a team not to be taken lightly.
No, not at all. I mean, don't let that table throw you when you see the likes of FC20 and a team called Hercules and Excelsior. They're they're good teams, and especially when you talk about the finals, Ajax is, and
Ajax are second from bottom at the moment in
Ajax are
that league.
second from bottom. They are struggling, but again, they will. Ajax do what they will always do, and they'll find a way back up to the top of the table. But to have such a strong start and to concede so few goals, and I know we'll get into the players, but if you actually look at their team, the amount of players that you will recognize, like
Mm,
names that you're like, oh, I didn't know he played there. I didn't know he played there. The likes
mhm.
of, like Geordie Classy, who everyone knows, who was phenomenal for a couple of seasons and was linked to everyone. Matt Ryan, the goalkeeper, Aussie goalkeeper, everyone knows him, and they've got some really star players. There's a right back called Sugawara, who, if if anyone plays the AFC or FIFA, they'll know that he's one of those trick players, rapid right back, and he's as good offensively as he is defensively as well. His statistics are really, really impressive. And then obviously Pavlidis, their
Yeah,
number.
I'm just gonna bring up their team from their last game. So yeah, you've got Sugawara there, Class A there, Matt Ryan in goal, and Evangelos Pavlidis, who scored a
He's a
hat trick on the weekend.
he's a joke. I mean, he's got 14 goals and assists in 9 games. So he's got 13 goals, 1 assist. He is their danger man. The next highest number of goals is Danny DeWitt, who you can
Mm,
see plays in Cam there. He's got 4 for the season, but he's also got 3 assists. So in terms of goal involvements, he's on 7 for the season. Sugawara, who I've already spoken about, has got 4 assists this season already, and it's just their ability over the pitch. Like, obviously Pavlidis is he's the star man. He's the one that we're going to have to keep quiet on the night. But if you focus too much on him, then you've got players all around the pitch, um, that can then punish you. And I've got a lot of respect for what they're doing. I like their team. It's a very, very fast paced team. And yeah, it'll be interesting to see, if they really come out and give Villa a game. I think, it could actually be a really tasty game. It could be like a really good quality game to watch. So I'm excited.
Mm. I was just about to say that because you said there about kind of really admire the way they play, fast paced, very almost kind of you could substitute that for Villa. I guess we control the game in certain parts and lull teams in, but when we attack, we really go for it. So yeah, what I haven't, I must admit, I haven't watched much at all of AZ Alkmaar, but this season. But looking at that start, looking at way Dutch teams tend to play, are they that kind of typical fluid style in terms of passing and movement that the Dutch teams play with?
Yeah, and I mean, I can only go. I've done a bit of research in terms of trying to educate myself before the game. I can't say that I watch a lot of Dutch football, but from what I have seen of them, um, they're very, very fast pace. I think Villa, they kind of remind me of Martin O'Neill's Villa, where they're kind of quick on that counter attack. Whereas this Villa has the ability to do that, but they've also got the ability to control the ball, pass it around,
Mm.
and and they have that technical ability on the ball. But I think, to their credit, from what I've seen, is they've got quality over the pitch. Um, so it'll be interesting to see how, depending on what team we put out, how we match up against that. Because if we have Pau Torres, for example, if he's going to left back, we're giving Dino a break. Is he going to be able to deal with that overlap of Sugawara? Is he going to be able to deal with the pace and that strength in their team? I think Diego Carlos is actually, I do expect him to come in tonight. I think he'll give Pavlidis a good run for his money in the strength department, because Pavlidis, as you can see, scores a lot of goals, 13 goals already this season, and he can score all kinds of goals as well. So you need someone who's going to marshal him, and uh, and yeah, I mean, it's all about the team we put out. It depends
Yeah.
on how they're going to play and how we're going to play. And currently, I've got no idea. What do you reckon? What do you think our team's going to be? What are you expecting?
Well, let's do it. Let's put the predictions up. So I'll put mine up first. So I've gone a bit hybrid, not as many changes. I've gone with the idea that I think if potentially a few changes could be made on Sunday against Luton. So I've gone with Martinez in goal. I've Consa, Carlos, Torres as that kind of solid back three, I would say. And then Luca Dean as the kind of attacking option on that left hand side. So and then Luis Kamara. I don't think we can do without that defensive midfield structure, or that midfield structure, so to speak. Then I've put Tielemans in, I think, to keep the ball recycling and for looking for passes. McGinn, captain, I think he'll durable. I think he'll play. And then I've gone with Bailey. Usually he's been used in Europe, and Watkins up front, purely on the basis of I think Duran might have played, but if he was allegedly injured after returning from international duty, whether he's had a discipline issue, I'm not too sure, but I don't think he'll be ready to start. Yeah, so that's who I've gone with. I know you've made one or two other changes, but I'll bring yours up in a second. But what do you think on that lineup?
I think it's a really, really strong lineup. They're all pretty much, apart from taking out Matty Cash and putting in Yuri Tielemans. That's really the first team, isn't it?
Mm.
Obviously, no Diaby, no Matty Cash. Um, I don't. Yeah, I think it's a strong team. If you were to pull up mine, I've made a few changes on that. I don't expect Emi Martinez to start tonight. I think if Olsen's not going to get a game in this game, then I would like to see Martinez start, because I think it's important to have something solid at the back. I actually found it really funny. We were watching Sevilla Arsenal the other night, and we had Orjan Island in goal for Sevilla.
Yeah, yeah.
And I mean, my takeaway from that is he hasn't improved. He hasn't got any better, and I've got no idea how he's starting Champions League games. But if he can start a Champions League game, you'd expect Robert Olsen to be able um, to start a Conference League game. But yeah, I think I've gone for a bit of changes at the back. I think Pau Torres and Concert have played a lot of football already
They
this
have.
season,
They have.
and I've seen the number of players that I'm seeing at the moment getting injured
Mm.
is frightening. I saw Andre Green, an old Villa boy, out for the season. Louis Barry out for the season, most likely. You've got injuries all around the league. Out for the season. So it's I'm more concerned about sort of spreading that load around and making sure that we keep, because we've already got Tyrone Mings injured. If we overplay Torres, overplay Konsa, you know we're going to end up with a whole other disaster that we're not going to be able to rectify until January.
Mm-hmm.
So I
Mm-hmm.
think the rotation's important. I think Yuri Tielemans, I fully expect him to come in tonight. I think Kamara, just to hold that back a bit. Kamara and Louise are really important. And then I expect a really strong front three, because we're going to need to, if they are going to sit back, we're going to need to find a way through. And
Yeah.
there's no better trio to do it than Bailey, Diaby, and Watkins. The only thing I would say is possibly Diaby would be interchangeable with Zaniolo, because
Mm.
I could expect him wanting to crack on and try and get his first goal. So, but yeah, it's weird, because for
It's
the
so
Premier
difficult,
League,
isn't it?
it's
Yeah.
so easy to pick the team. It kind of picks itself. But then you get
Yeah.
into this, and there's just so many other considerations. I've got no idea. We could be talking out our
Yeah.
asses, if you're honest, Rich.
Yeah. Probably. Well, look. You get in the comments, guys, if you're watching, who you think's going to start. How do you think Emery will approach this game? And if you do want to join us on FanHub and join the community on FanHub, then the link will be in the description. You can test out your predictions against us, and also use the golden ticket code, which I'll also put in the chat, which will get you into the app quicker than the rest, and you won't have to queue. So yeah, it's really good fun. So join us in FanHub. Yeah, anything else that you want to cover before we get your score predictions on tonight? I just wanted to pick up on the fact that obviously Alkmaar, similar to us, like everyone's on the same points. I think two teams have scored 4 and let in 4. Two teams scored 3, let in 3. I guess Alkmaar had a 1 goal difference against, they beat Legia Warsaw 1-0. We obviously lost 3-2. We beat Zrinski 1-0. They lost to Zrinski 4-3, I believe, after being 3-0 up at half time. So there obviously are some holes in their team. There are some weaknesses that we could potentially exploit.
Yeah, I mean, you'd from the when we played Drinsky last time out, I didn't understand how they'd beaten Alkmaar. If I'm being honest, I didn't.
Yeah, yeah.
I was
I
like,
get you. I totally get you.
but then
They
again, if
literally
you,
just came and parked the bus against us. Yeah, yeah,
it
yeah.
was there wasn't it wasn't the same level of quality. Like Warsaw, Legia Warsaw, I got to admit, I was so impressed with the way they played, because they just played us off the park. Really smart defending, brilliant counter attacking as well, and they were catching out Konsa as well. It wasn't like it was a third string Callum Chambers and he was getting caught out because he's not played a lot of football. They were playing really good stuff, and them beating Alkmaar would make more sense to me than obviously next time out they went out and lost. I think it's just indicative of what this competition is. It's a bit of a free for all. You don't know your opponents that well. You can't prepare for them in the same way you prepare for the Prem. These are players that you come up against twice a season, or you play with internationally, or everyone knows each other. Everyone knows. Like if we were playing, if we're playing Chelsea, we know Raheem Sterling quick. We know Enzo Fernandez, choppy in the tackle. Thiago Silva, he knows where the block is. Like, these players, and the
Mhm.
players will know these players. When you come up against some randomer from Shrinsky, the players don't know him. They don't know what to expect from them. And obviously they'll have coaching, and Emery will tell them and say, look, these are the key players. This is the attributes, or whatever. But you got to put a face to the name. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, I get you.
it,
Yeah,
it's
it's not like there's not like there's obviously they'll study video in the league, but yeah, it's completely different. You
how
know.
how long do they have to study it as well? We
Yeah,
what
yeah,
we
yeah,
played
yeah,
we played
yeah.
on Sunday. They're not studying on that day. They go in on
No,
Monday, maybe have a rest day. So they've got Tuesday, Wednesday, and then the games on Thursday. Like, how much time do they really have to prepare
yeah,
for these games?
yeah.
So I think it's interesting. And I would ask you a question. Obviously, we've got Alkmaar tonight. What do you think is the best result we can hope for in the in the other game? So Warsaw versus Rinsky, because if they draw, then everyone's still technically in it. We would be on 6. You have 2 teams on 4.
Hmm.
But if we win and one of them win, you have 2 teams on 6, which kind of bridges the gap a little bit. So what are you hoping out of the other result?
I think a draw probably. satisfies all options. Yeah, even if the worst was to happen and we lose and that's a draw, we're still kind of like well in with a shot of catching both teams. And then yeah, if we draw, then obviously everyone, as you say, everyone's kind of still at the same point, and we've got 2 home games then out of the final three Conference League matches, so it puts us in a decent spot as well.
You know, that's really funny because you said if we lose and then they draw, then we're still in catching distance. It never even occurred to me that we might lose tonight, Rich. I was thinking if we were on 6 points, it wasn't. I didn't even think. Oh crap! When you said it, I was like, oh, we could actually lose this game. And I think that's Unai Emery's Villa, isn't it? I didn't even think of that.
Yeah. Well, let's get your score prediction anyway, mate, because it is going to be an exciting. Oh well, it's all set up to be an exciting game. So yeah, what do you think the score is going to be?
I am going to piggyback off my boy Shaheen's prediction. I'm going to go 3-1 Villa, double Ollie Watkins. And I'll tell you what, if he keeps this up for Christmas, I'm going to buy myself a Watkins shirt.
Oh, mate, singing a song, buying a Watkins shirt. What is going on?
Well, no, I said it. I said if he sorts himself out, then I will do my penance and I will buy a Villa shirt with Watkins on, and that means I'll have to watch it when he inevitably goes back on his drought. So yeah, I'm in. But I think Watkins is he's full of confidence today, and I hope he continues his run, gets a goal, and I hope. Do you know what I want for Ollie Watkins? I want him to bag a sitter. That's what I want him to do. I want him to just I want him to tap one in from 3 yards out, just so he gets used to it.
Yeah, I agree.
Go on, Richard.
I'm flicking between 1-0 and like a 3-1 exciting game.
Come on, come to the dark side, Rich.
I think we're going to try and control it, and I think we'll get a 1-0 win. Yeah, I think we'll get a 1-0 win. I think it'll be Emery masterclass in terms of like holding them at bay, and allowing crosses into the box or whatever, but us being able to defend them quite resolutely. But I think Watkins will score, and we'll get a 1-0 win.
I reckon what I can see is us doing a fast start. I can see 3 goals in this first half of this game, because I'm sure Emery's going to say to them, I don't want what happened against Zrinski, where we're the 90th minute and we're still chasing the game. Go out, do your job early. Let's not mess about. But then again, he has to have his process and his philosophy as well. I don't know. I've got no idea what's going on in this game. It's anything is this is the Villa Park guest podcast where we just guess what happens. There's no thought behind it. There's no reasoning. We're just guessing.
Exactly. Well, look, hopefully you guys get in the comments as well. Let us know your thoughts on the score. I'm sure we'll have a whole spectrum of different score lines in there, because as we've just said there, we can't predict anything in terms of this Conference League at the moment and the teams that we're facing, and that's what makes it so much more exciting. So yeah, it's going to be a great game, guys. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, help us on the road to 3K. We've smashed through the 2,600 barrier now, so we're well on the way, but you guys can really help us do that. So like, subscribe, and get involved in the comments. Sam, thank you very much. I'm sure we will be back very soon with match reaction to this game, match preview to Luton, match reaction to Luton. So loads of content. Make sure you keep involved with the channel. And as always, remember, we all follow the Villa. Thanks, everyone.